We're girlfriends of a certain age. In midlife, we got a lot to say. So let's get loud. We won't fade away, 'cause we're girlfriends of a certain age.
Hey, girlfriend. Welcome to Girlfriends of a Certain Age, a podcast for women who are living out loud in midlife.
We are girlfriends in real life, and each week we explore how to recover from being good girls and how we can live our best lives together.
Flesche, what exactly is a recovering good girl?
Well, Jess, it's someone who used to care way too much about what everyone else thought about her, and now she doesn't give a bleep anymore.
A little about us. We met in our 20s when we danced our butts off in the club together.
And now we're dancing through life together as friends, entrepreneurs, podcasters, authors, and mothers in midlife.
I'm Jessica Neighbor, and I'm a voice coach for vocalists and public speakers. I run impactvocalcoaching.com. I'm on Instagram at Impact Public Speaking, and you can find me on YouTube at Voice Coach Jessica Neighbor.
And I'm Flesche Hesh. I'm a business coach and work-life balance expert for moms. You can find me at thebusymom.us or on Instagram at Work-Life Balance Mentor.
Every week, we discuss a hot topic, including culture, relationships, and health to help you live out loud.
If you identify as a recovering good girl or as a girlfriend of any age and you want to join our conversations, do it. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and girlfriendsofacertainage.com.
Oh, and join our free online community where we'll share bonus content and after-hours conversation on Substack.com. Just search for Girlfriends of a Certain Age at Substack.com.
Hey, girlfriend.
Hey, girlfriend. How's it going?
Ooh, so good. I just watched The Light We Carry on Netflix with Oprah and Michelle Obama, or just Oprah and Michelle, as I like to call them. Oh,
Right.
I'm so lit up.
My gosh, I watched it recently as well, and I was so lit up and inspired. And we are so inspired that we want to review this show for our girlfriends of a certain age because it is so connected to what we're doing here.
I know. I delighted in their girlfriend chattedness. Like what you and I are doing, but it feels obviously so much more elevated. They're all dressed up. They're on a stage. There's a huge audience responding to them in real time. But it reminded me, like, that's what you and I are doing. You and I are just two girlfriends who want to chat it up, and we're attracting all these women who want to sit and listen and be a part of this party too.
Yeah. It's such an important element in our life, the girlfriend chat. It's paramount to what we do. And also I was fanning out on both of them, and there was something so sweet to just see these two women who are, yes, Oprah and Michelle, no second name needed, but who at the end of the day are totally friends. And you could feel that coming through. I loved how they were just loving each other up and supporting each other and talking about their parties and how they were hosting things. I mean, it just felt like a normal girlfriend. And so there was something so great about getting to kind of get a little taste of that. And also props to them for being on that grand stage with the cameras and the lights and the makeup and still being so down to earth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So inspiring and so juicy. And when people of that stature, of that caliber, at that level, with that big a platform, are talking about realness,
yes,
it kind of relaxes something in our brains, I think, that we can be more real. Because people who know me know that I have very little appetite for superficiality. I am, I can do small talk with people, but I prefer not to. I would much rather hear what's really going on for you, even if it's... I was at a family party yesterday talking with a relative, and we just dropped into this really intense and deep conversation. We were both crying, just sitting there with each other. And then later had this embrace in this moment. And I just felt this real connection. And I feel like that's what Michelle and Oprah were doing in that special.
Totally. They were doing what you would not think you would see on such a grand stage. They were letting their mess hang all out. They were talking about, struggles and menopause and all kinds of things and making it so relatable that you just wanted to love them more. And so I think it's just a great reminder that realness is what is attractive. It's funny. This is a little bit of a tangent, but my music brain has to go there. I was reading an article in the New York Times yesterday that was talking about how modern day music is so overly produced that it's taken the humanity out of music. And this journalist was referring to an old Beach Boys song and how one of the vocals was off. It was flat. And his kid was listening to it with him and said, that doesn't sound right. That sounds bad. And this journalist's whole point was, yeah. And guess what happened? When I heard that Beach Boys song as a young man, you know what it made me think? I can do that too.
Oh.
I can make music. I can do this. And this polished Instagram perfect thing we're seeing nowadays, I think is just making us so much more hungry for realness. And so to just see these two freaking powerful women be so freaking real, it was like they were a little off key, and I love them all the more for that.
Exactly. And those are the things that made headlines. Michelle talking about her marriage and that there were maybe even as long as a 10-year stint where she didn't really like him that much. I love that. There's so much pressure on everybody to pretend like everything is perfect all the time. I'm only going to put up the glossy things. And then everyone is shocked and horrified when people start getting divorced. Well, how did that happen? You were having trouble? All I saw was this glossy, beautiful, big anniversaries, big gifts, big trips. And that's not, I mean, that can be real, but the real day-to-day of living with other people is complicated and
it's complicated. Hard. It's complicated. It's messy, as we all are. And I think we all want to be simpler, and we're just not. And isn't Michelle so great at verbalizing and articulating how difficult things are? Like when she talked about the pandemic and talked about some mental health issues she was going through, I really felt like her honesty is like her trademark. And I even have this hunch, it's based on not much of anything, but because she and Barack Obama have been such public figures, and obviously he was our president for 8 years, I have this feeling that their dynamic is that he's the dreamer and she's the realist.
I get that.
But she's so good for that. She's just so good for that. Yeah. So just the whole realness about the pandemic and about how hard it was and setting the tone for that whole interview, I thought was like, yeah, thanks for acknowledging that. Because I think a lot of us now are like, oh, that was last year. Oh, anyways, it's like, oh no, we're not forgetting that. That has shaped today now forever.
Right. Well, there's something too that she said that I think is a great reminder for everybody that things can be hard and still be great. You can still find a greatness in it, because I think most of us are very real with ourselves. We look at a lot of long-term relationships. We know very few, we see very few, even fewer of people who genuinely seem, pretty content with each other, let alone happy with each other. So that really, 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 really narrows. And so her talking about that, I think, is a great reminder for all of us to start just being more real and not putting on that glossy appearance, or shellacking it. And I know I've been doing that more, just being more real with people in my life about like, what's up, what's happening, what's not so great, because that's also where I get my support and my love and my encouragement from my community.
Absolutely. And it's just such a myth. It goes back to this sort of they lived happily ever after idea that that's what we should be. And I think that that's such a burden on couples in relationship that if that's not us, something's wrong with us, where it's like, are you kidding me? We all are struggling and getting annoyed with one another on a regular basis, because that's what living with another person is. Let's be real. And so, yeah, for her to just be so outspoken about it, you're right, is also really needed, because we don't hear enough about that. I think we just still live in such a duality of it's like all happy or it's all over, and recognizing that It's hard and it's complicated on the daily. And yeah, your own your own mate might annoy you for an entire decade, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and she talked too a lot about managing her own happiness, not putting that on her spouse or her children or her community. And that's another great reminder for all of us, right? That we just take that power back. It's such a big weight that we put on other people. And I think so many of us were raised believing that a spouse was supposed to be everything to us and provide everything to us, or that other people were supposed to make us happy, or a job should make us happy, instead of having that come from the inside out.
It's such a good point. We have to say what we need, what we desire, and we are going to be the most likely person to fulfill that. And even if we want to get a need or desire from someone else, we have to be explicit with what it is we need and want from them. And so I think she is a really beautiful role model in someone who's like living that, who's, walking the walk of doing that on the daily. There was another moment that was so moving when she talked about her father, and her father who dealt with MS and who really did struggle for years. And she and her family got to witness this sort of decline. But how you felt in the way she spoke about that there was this beauty in it, and there were all these lessons learned in it. And what a powerful way to take something that could have been so painful and something that I think someone could turn into kind of a victimhood for themselves and for her father. And didn't you get a strong sense that her father was not acting like a victim? Oh. And her memory of him, honoring him even at her wedding and to this day, is one of the strongest people in her life.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
It was. And that she still has that active relationship with him, even though he's passed over to the other side. And that reminding herself that he's with her all the time, these lessons. And I think that's so important. I've been thinking a lot lately about my ancestors and where I come from. And I feel like that's part of what she was saying. Like, I still have that relationship with him, even though it's a different dynamic, and the strength that he taught her and showed her, because what we show is so much more impactful than what we say. And so her dad was this living testament to digging deep and moving forward and finding purpose and meaning.
Yeah.
And not playing the victim.
No. And he did it. And I think that is true. That's why she is the way she is today, partly because of her parents, and for her to really be able to honor them. And I think a lot of us at this age are going to experience losing those important people in our lives if we haven't already, and how we can still keep them in our hearts daily is so key. Yeah.
Right. The things that they teach us in a positive way, right? Because there are some things we've learned that are not so great that we can let those go. Hopefully in our generation, right? We could let some of those things die out, but keep holding on to the things that keep moving us forward and help us live our purpose,
Totally. Yeah. Was there another moment for you or another topic that jumped out about their interview?
Well, when Oprah said to Michelle, "So how's it going with menopause?" I straightened my spine. I leaned forward. I was like, hell yes. Thank you. Thank you for talking about this. The myths, all of their confusion, that women who I assume have access to a very high level of medical care and very forward thinking and interesting things that we probably haven't even heard of yet, that they were befuddled, bewildered, confused Oprah with her heart palpitations and everyone being like, oh, I don't know, let's send you for another cardiogram or whatever it's called. I think that there was something so poignant about that, and how little research there is about women's health and how otherized we are in the medical system. And you and I have done a great first episode about this, talking about menopause with Michelle Dwyer. Powerful episode.
From season 2. Yeah.
If you missed it, go back and listen to it. And we're going to keep doing these topics because we still don't have all the information that we need to have. And I think women sharing about their stories and their experiences and their symptoms is how we start to make sense of our own experiences and empower ourselves with our medical professionals to get what we need. And hearing how many people are taking hormone replacement therapy, that shocked me because the last thing I heard was like, that's not great. We don't do that. And then hearing other medical professionals, just there's a new, fresh take on it. So I would like to explore that more myself.
Yeah. And I think you're right that they're really opening up the discussion because they're such public figures. So if they're talking about it and they're talking about their struggles, you better believe that the rest of us are as well. And, we also have talked about how it was such a hush hush thing that women just carried around with them in the shadows, almost like, you go from your period and being ashamed about your period to menopause. And it's like, we have to live out loud about this. And especially if the medical profession isn't going to honor us and research this, well, then we got to get in community with each other and start talking about it.
Yeah.
So I loved that. I love that for them just being on that stage and just being the realness of the menopause. I loved it.
Oh, I feel so much better after doing your vocal warm-ups, Jessica.
Ooh, me too. I am ready now to speak on our podcast and not get all tongue-tied.
I feel more calm after doing your breath and speech exercises.
You are so right to feel that way. Did you know warming up before you speak is actually scientifically proven to help you feel more calm?
And how do you know this?
Well, as a voice coach of 20 years, I see how helpful it is with my public speaker clients. And a public speaker is anyone who speaks in public, which includes all of our girlfriends.
I never thought of it that way.
If you want, you can have your own copy of my public speaker checklist so you can feel this way every day. My free gift to you.
Ooh, thanks. How do I get a copy?
Ooh, you just click on the link in today's show notes, sign up, and you'll instantly get your own copy.
Thanks, girlfriend.
Stay calm and speak on, girlfriend. Girlfriend, sometimes I can get so stressed, I wonder if I'm burning out.
I totally understand. Burnout can be tough, but there are things you can do to prevent it.
Really? Like what?
Well, I'm leading a 5-day challenge that will help you to unleash your potential while tackling burnout.
That sounds amazing. How does it work?
Each day, you and I will focus on a different aspect of your life that's causing you stress. You'll learn how to manage your time better, how to say no to things, and how to take better care of yourself.
That sounds fab. Just like what I need as a recovering good girl.
Yep. The challenge is free, so there's no risk in trying it. You can find the link in today's show notes.
Ooh, I'm going to sign up right now.
Yay! I'm so glad to hear it. You and I can kick burnout together.
Hey, girlfriend.
Hey, girlfriend.
Oh, I just got off a call where my other girlfriend was so confused. She is in a relationship. They're at a crossroads and she's a little divorce curious at the moment.
Ooh, what did you tell her?
I mean, what do you tell a girlfriend? It's their decision. I just wanted to be there for her and support her, but I didn't want to tell her what to do.
Well, of course. Well, it reminds me of my dear friend, Tamara Mendelson, who's a relationship coach and divorce expert. She's divorced herself and a mom of 2, and she walks girlfriends of a certain age actually through a process of being divorce curious. Because some of us are just angry. Some of us are just feeling stuck in our relationships. But I'll give you the link and I'll leave it below for girlfriends of a certain age as well. And they can get free, immediate access to this roadmap and find out from Tamara what their next steps are.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so helpful. I will definitely share that link with my girlfriend. Thank you. Amazing.
You're welcome. And I'll link it below for all the girlfriends listening.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There was a hilarious moment too that I have to call out Michelle on her parenting because she just strikes me as a mom who is just such a no BS, straight up mother. And now that her daughters are like young adults and kind of practicing at having their first apartment and their first furniture, and how she and Barack Obama were over there having an appetizer and a drink before an event with them, and how right when she went to put her drink down, her daughter slipped a little coaster on this. I died laughing because in my household, I am like the coaster troll. I am forever telling everyone in the family to use a damn coaster, and it's very hit or miss. And I just love that she kind of like called them out and said, oh, interesting. You didn't really care about this coaster thing when we were in the White House and you were putting your drinks down on these like historical tables.
It's so true. And we know they were there because we saw them at the beginning,
Yes.
with her getting ready. But yes, to be able to call that out and to see that progression, right?
Yes.
That the messages did get in, they did hear it, and now they're learning the value of it with their own, what'd she call it? Their cheap ass furniture or whatever.
Oh, yes. Whatever, their little hoopty table from whatever, right?
Yeah,
but we all start somewhere. Absolutely.
And that she's at that new stage of parenting where they're, somewhat launched and have their own space, and now they're entertaining. There was something too really sweet for me to see that arc of motherhood, right? Because she's still very much a mom.
Yes.
And what I'm learning is that this gig never ends. It's an ongoing thing. But she's at this newer stage, and they're starting to fly a little bit more. And then still she could cut that down and be so real and so honest about them.
Yes. So good. But yes, you're right. With love, of course. Because of course, like who wouldn't be tickled pink to be sitting there and having their kid make them a drink in their apartment and be full on adulting? Like what an accomplishment for everybody. But you still have to kind of keep it real at the end of the day. And I am so going to use that. If I ever see a coaster in my son's apartment in the future, I am so teasing them about it. I might just put my drink down on the table without it. I don't know. I'm undecided what I'm going to do at this point.
A little karma for you fools.
Oh, look at the drink ring. Who did that?
I know. Well, I'm so curious to know what you thought of Miss Thing's wardrobe and her take on all that.
She's amazing. I mean, everything she was wearing was fire. She looked so incredible. And it was really cool too. It was like taking chances. It was super fashion forward. And I'm just like, her nails, her eyelashes, her awesome getup, like it all looked so good. I loved it.
Yeah, watching her grow into herself as a grown-ass woman. And then, of course, I'm sure there's a fair amount of good girl stuff coming with, in the White House. They, as far as I'm concerned, did not put a foot out of step.
Oh, no.
No scandals, all that. They knew who they were. They knew how they were being watched. They knew the importance of this moment. And that it lasted 8 glorious years. It's just pretty incredible. But to see her now be like, well, now it doesn't matter what I wear. Right. Now I'm just Michelle. I'm not First Lady. I can just be me. I can wear those leather pants and rock it and not give a about what anyone else thinks about what I'm wearing, because I will, fashion myself any way I want. That just made me I was so excited.
And that was a recovery move on her part, I believe, because they were showing the photos of her wearing shorts when they went to the Grand Canyon. I mean, she got crap for wearing shorts as the First Lady. What the hell is wrong with us? She could not win. And she did. They never misstepped. They were absolutely perfection for 8 years. And yet they still got torn apart for all kinds of BS. And so I think there is a recovery for her to be like, oh, you didn't like those shorts? How do you like these leather pants?
And there's more where that came from.
And you know what? You can't touch me now because I'm out of politics.
And she doesn't care.
She doesn't care.
I just really saw that too. She's going to speak her mind. Yeah. And because of her platform and the opportunity, and that people do look up to her and admire her and buy her books and come to her talks, that she is, I feel like there's something about like a public service announcement in so much of what she wants to say about young people and focusing on the right things. Let's stop focusing on the glossy and how much money we spend on a wedding, but that we have a real relationship at its core, that we're really, moving things forward and leaving things better than we found them. to say that and to be able to just not be worried about the repercussions. I mean, I'm sure they come and I'm sure people still say things, but she's just going to be herself.
She's going to be herself. And she did have to carry such a burden as the first lady, which wasn't something she volunteered to do. If you read her first book, Becoming, right? We both have read that. She talks openly about how conflicted she was about going into politics and living in the White House and all that came with it, and it was really illuminating because sure, it's kind of glamorous, but it's also kind of traumatic. And you're living under a microscope. And if you're Black in America, you can literally not do anything right in the public eye. It was just so infuriating to hear the impossible standards that they were having to meet that were unmeetable. And so I just do feel like I just want to see her just wearing the craziest shit now, just to rock it all, And I really loved the balance with her and Oprah, because here's this other rock star in her own right. Loved how she was fanning out on Michelle for a minute and saying, I bought 20 copies, And then Michelle almost gave her a poke like, well, you should buy some more. Like there was just such this realness about their very grounded relationship as really as two girlfriends of a certain age. That was so heartwarming.
There was something too, as they were leaving the stage, at this moment I really noticed where they're walking off and Michelle is, who's on her book tour. She's still turning around and waving to people. And Oprah was like, I'm done with that. She had her back to the audience. She's talking to Michelle and she didn't look back and wave. And she wasn't sort of fanning the flames of that. She was just like, okay, that job is done. Now I'm going to go hang out with my girl backstage. And there was something about that too, of just like owning it. Like I didn't come here to preen. I'm not promoting a book. I'm promoting her. I'm promoting here to my boost friend. Her.
Yes, this is her moment. I am here to support her, which is such a powerful move for a real girlfriend. Yeah. It's like, your success is my success.
Exactly. And I realized, I grew up with such a story, and I don't know if I got this overtly or covertly, but that girls, we were all competing with each other.
Oh, same.
Okay. Yeah. So to see, and now that I'm a grown ass woman, I've just healed so much of that. Like I don't need to have that in my life. And I don't now. So it's so beautiful. All the women in my life, we are all supporting each other, right? And people who are not on that track, we fall away from each other's lives, and that's okay.
Right.
So I just so loved these two bringing the rising tide for everybody. All those boats are being lifted, including mine, watching them up on that stage, riffing, laughing, poking each other. But really, ultimately, it was about elevating each other, their voices, their messages, their purpose.
And all the women in the room, they were elevating as well. They very much felt like we are talking to you on your level. We are not these stars. We are not these, greater than you celebrities. We are real people. And I feel like that is their mission. And what a beautiful mission. And we just need more people who want to be real people on all levels. And Flesche, I know you and I really strive to do that in this podcast. And, it is hard when you're kind of aware that you have listeners and you sometimes have one ear outside of it. But at the end of the day, what I feel like really keeps us in line is trying to have that realness, right? And that's life affirming for me. And I think that watching them in that talk, which again is available on Netflix, y'all should watch it. And let's get Michelle Obama's book, because what a great way to support her. Like that is life affirming, because it's all of life. It's the good and the bad and the ugly and the beautiful, all wrapped up in one. And I love seeing more realness like that. I think we need it all around us as much as possible.
Right. To stop living our lives or presenting our lives as if there's a filter on it, right?
Yeah.
Like that Instagram filter or TikTok filters, that let's just be ourselves. Let's be raw and real, and let's stop competing, and let's elevate each other, and let's let each other be ourselves.
Yes.
You know, let's stop worrying so much about how other people are being and focus more on what we're doing and how we're being and what we're bringing to the world, what we're bringing to the conversation. Because the idea of victimization, I feel like, is really dying out. And it's time for women to take charge of our lives, right? And to share our stories. So whether that's you starting a podcast or writing a book or changing the way
speaking your mind at your next meeting or dinner table, you know? Yes, all of that. And speaking your truth in a real open way is I think the way we're going to change the narrative of victimhood. And I would like us women to stop policing each other because I think you're right. I think it was absolutely put into us at a very young age to compete, be it a beauty pageant, be it a talent show, be it who's the smartest in their class. I mean, our whole culture loves to honor the best. And where does that leave room for everyone else? And so I think that when I catch myself policing other women, there is something in me that is not satisfied, because we are all grown women and we should all allow each other to just be our full selves. And does that mean we're going to like everything that everyone else does? No. And we should not expect for them to like everything we do and say. And that's fine. We can be grown ass women and tolerate a little funkiness and be okay with it. So yes to not being a victim anymore, and yes to not policing each other. I'm over it. I'm over that.
It's so toxic. And I do believe that when we speak this way and remind each other, then it does start to kill it off. It starts to choke out that negativity and the judgment. Because I think sometimes envy can be actually a really helpful feeling. But what most people tend to do is make the other person wrong. Oh, you have that. You have this opportunity or that experience. Wah, I don't have it. Instead, turning it, kind of reverse engineering it. Oh, that's just showing me I want that too.
There you go.
And if she can do it, so can I.
Yes.
So I remember when I started shifting my thinking that way. And it was somewhere around starting my business. Some other coach, I think, mentioned that. I remember hearing that and just thinking, oh, right. That means it's possible for me too.
Well, you've always helped me to keep a great point of view, which is it's an apples to oranges comparison. And I love that, because when we're trying to compare ourselves, we never know the other situation, right? We're only perceiving it from the outside. And so it's really something that we wish for ourselves. And then we fill in the blanks with whatever it is we believe it inside to be true. So, I mean, even that show, well, there's Michelle up there. She's written her second book, you know, there's a little bit of envy, I think, in a lot of us that go, hey, she wrote 2 books already? Okay, what's that mean for us?
Exactly.
What's that book inside that we want to have written? You know, all of those things. So yes, to your point, when that envy can motivate us, we can shift it away from that old mean girl, you know, trope, and really turn it into something super positive, which is like that healthy competition, that healthy way that we could be with one another. And I mean, you feel that a little bit from them too. Those are 2 fierce ladies talking to each other. Like there's a little bit of like fun sparring going on.
But at the bottom of it, you feel the friendship. That the only way they can do that and that spar that way and have it be clean is because they actually love each other.
Yeah. And I do want to say that is what I feel to be true with you from the bottom of my heart, that I can give you a little shit about being a queen with your tiara, because at the bottom of my heart, I know you are one. And I love you for it.
Oh, honey, thank you. I know. I think there's something about, it's actually quite vulnerable for me to share that part of myself, because I have taken a lot of shit for it. Oh, you're such a princess. Oh my gosh. It's like, you're just too much. You're so extra. And yes, I am extra. And the people who like that and find that fun and engaging, or it brings it out in them too, that's who I want to be spending my time with. That's where my energy is going to go. My energy will flow so that I can elevate that in you. And whatever the thing is for you that you are bringing forward and stepping into more fully. And we're all doing that for each other.
Yes, I want us all to start raising our freak flags, and let's not even call them freak flags anymore. Let's just call them our real flags, and let's just like breathe into our realness with each other, because I think that is our healing. That's our healing, is by just bringing the realness out into the open and then finding those people that can like really see us for who we are. And I see you in your queendom, and I love it.
Thank you so much. And I see you. Oh my gosh, you're such a badass. It makes me wonder, from the girlfriends, what did we miss? What did we not talk about with Oprah and Michelle?
Absolutely.
Going there in the special, The Light We Carry on Netflix. So leave us a comment down below. Share your thoughts. Join us over on Substack in our private community. It's completely free to join. And let's keep this conversation going, because Jess and I have so much more we want to say about this. We want to share that with you guys. So you're gonna get a little bit extra from us over on Substack.
Yes, we would love to hear from you all. Love you so much, and can't wait until next time, girlfriends. So until then, bye. Thank you for hanging out with us today on Girlfriends of a Certain Age. This episode was produced by Jessica Neighbor at Impact Vocal Coaching and Flesche Jessica at The Busy Mom.
This podcast jingle was written and performed by Jessica Neighbor. Do you have a girlfriend who needs to hear this message? Share this episode with her. She will love you forever.
If you enjoyed today's talk, join us in our private community on Substack at Girlfriends of a Certain Age.
You can help us reach even more girlfriends when you take 30 seconds to subscribe and rate our channel on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube, so you never miss another episode.
Stay tuned for more episodes where we discuss more hot topics for all of you, our girlfriends living our best lives together.